Historical narratives have affected how citizens voted and politicians justified war. When it comes to national narratives, there's no such thing as just a story.
And knowledge is a medicine for fear, a medicine for intellectual fevers.
People who have a lot of religious unity don't need a lot of religious freedom.
I've always believed very strongly in communicating the factual past to a broad public.
There was a tension between the idea of liberty and the reality of it for many Congregationalists and many in New England.
Churches increasingly became politicized spaces where Black people could imbibe messages of freedom and equality of man under God.
While Christianity was used to justify the wars that they fought, it also on multiple occasions restrained the Puritan colonies from waging war.
And the rhetoric of apocalyptic violence and persecution gets added to pre-existing Puritan narratives of holy war.
Church records then cast more light on 17th and 18th century New England life and culture than any other discrete set of primary records.
The enslaved were the architects of their emancipation, insofar as they made the conflict between slavery and family visible.
You can't lie to God. So these record books are very thorough and they're very honest.
But family Bibles were not the main repository for family records in the 18th century because Bibles were super expensive.
It is not uncommon to feel daunted or overwhelmed when looking at the full scope of a collection.
Across 5 decades, John Hancock emerged from an orphan in print to the pinnacle of religious, political, and social standing.
How any man professing to be a minister of Christ could be guilty of the atrocious crime of trafficking in human flesh is inconceivable.
When the revolutionary movement came along, the tradition that had already developed of the people's music was applied to political issues and political concerns.
And she had an eye not just for her family's place in history, but her own.
Taking the Black community's central political institution, the Black Church, to task by excoriating its clergy for being corrupt and inculcating ignorance as a duty.
Mary actually played a very important, if overlooked, role as the head of the family.
He's developing the theological principles upon which the church would be built, and he ends up being a major founder and figure for Newport's Black Christian community.
Every repository has its own collecting policies and its own limitations on how it can operate.
Ultimately, it was the Civil War that catalyzed true denominational formation for both Unitarians and Orthodox Congregationalists.
Wherever we have built a church, we have built a school next to it, because we believe that faith and education, they go hand in hand.
The highest and best use of repurposing church property is to have a missional purpose, even if it's not religious.
It is the archive, when properly cared for, which can live on. The archive perpetuates the memory and the mission of the church.